Hello everyone, it's Amy, and welcome back for week 141 of Build Your Stash and Craft. This week we are going to make DIY brads. I was requested by Jeanette Cook to not only make brads that we painted and decorated the brads from the office supply center, like this type that we did a while back, but she wanted to know if you could make brads without starting with even a office supply store brad. So they're very easy to make. We're just going to make them with wire, and then we're going to decorate them up however we decide that we want to. Here's a few that I've done here, and I just did them quickly. So some of them, like here on this blue one, my wire is sticking out, but I kind of liked the way it was sticking out there, and I thought if I made it even a little bit bigger, it would look like a flower in the background. So here are some that I haven't put anything on yet. And then we've got some swirls. This one is kind of like a coil with a flower, paper flower, another paper flower glued on top. Little diamonds. You can paint up your hole punches and put them on top, buttons, and I'll show you how to make this little butterfly brad also. And they're just like any other brad. Stick them through a hole and bend them over, and then they'll stay in there. And then I always cover my brads with something, whether it's tape, washi tape or paper or anything. So even though this is just wire, it doesn't matter. It's going to be covered up when you use it anyways. So we're going to make these, and like I said, they're very, very simple. I just have bunches of stuff out of our stash to play with these with. So we're just going to, the last of my very first batch of wire that we got way back when, and then I have the second batch that we got. So all we're going to do is we're just going to cut a piece. Now you really don't need a whole lot because you only want little tails at the end. So this is probably about 2 inches. Okay, this is 2.5 inches, so we'll see what it does. And what I usually do to start is just fold them in the middle. And then you can just wrap them around your round nose pliers and kind of 2 wraps till you get back to the same point. And then to make anything that's covered, you can stop right there. Hold on to that. Press. I don't like to twist them because if you put a twist on them, here, we'll twist this one. I have to hold on to it with that because I can't hold on to that little tiny bit with my hands. Okay, so we'll twist this one. Just a couple of twists. And put them together for our legs. I needed to twist that a little bit more. The twist came undone. Okay, so if we twist them, and then all you're going to do with your brad is you're just going to grab a hold of it and bend it over. And I didn't retwist them, I untwisted them. That was good. But I just want to show you what happens. Okay, if you twist your legs together, so we've just got a little twist there. There's our top. We're going to bend our top over so that we can decorate it on top. And then we have our little legs that we're going to put through the hole of our cardboard. Let me just put a few holes in here. Just like if you were working on any other project where you wanted to put a brad through, you would just poke a hole and then put the legs of your brad right through that hole. So we're going to take the legs of our brad here and put it through the hole. Now we haven't decorated it yet, but I want to show you the twist. So when you do that, and then you turn it over and you try and flatten out your legs, you have this twist. And this twist is sticking up. Those couple of twists are sticking out the back of your paper. So when you go to fold these down, they're only going to fold as far as that twist, and your brad is going to be loose because you're not going to be able to fold that twisted part. Your legs don't start to flare out until they get past that twist. So you don't want to twist them. Let's just take this off of here and get it out of our way. There we go. Okay, set that one aside. All right, so all you want to do is you just want, again, we'll just take a short piece of wire, and like I said, it doesn't need to be long. Just for those who are going to ask, we'll see. This one is actually 2 inches. So I'm just going to fold it in half. And you don't have to have round nose pliers. To me, it's easier for me to hold on to them. So I'm just going to wrap it all the way around. And then I'm going to put my pliers on this side and wrap it around to the other side, so that we have 2 coils right there, just to make it kind of sturdy. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab those 2 coils, bend them sideways, and bring the 2 legs together. Just like that. Okay, so now what we have is we have a little spot here to put anything that we want to decorate on top of it as a brad. Now, if you look at this, you'll say, well, the legs come off one side of the brad instead of, let's see, do I have anything that's really going to help you see? Okay, so here's the brad, and the legs are there off, let's say, we'll say it's off the top of the brad. Instead of like store-bought brads, they're in the middle. So the thing is, even with the store-bought brads, they bend them to reach to the middle. So we have these 2 in the middle, but they're actually both attached on the very outside of this brad, just like that. So they're not really in the middle either. I was trying to figure out, how do I get my legs in the middle? Well, that's how they've done it, is once they get to the outside, then they bend them both to the middle. So I'll show you how you can do that. But I have found I like this better. Number one, it's easier. And all you have to do is, if I want, let me have a piece of paper here. Wouldn't be me if I was totally prepared. All right, so let's say that I want my brad to be right here. Okay, so you might poke a hole there to put your brad there. And what's going to happen is, when you poke your hole there, let's do 2 holes right next to each other. Okay, so you poke your hole right where you want it, and you put this in here, and what happens is your brad winds up off just a little bit. Okay, how do you solve that? To use this brad very easily, instead of poking the hole right exactly where you want it, poke it just above where you want it. Then put the brad in there, because remember, that's at the top, and now your brad is right there where you wanted it. So, so even though the legs come off on the side instead of the underneath, you just poke the hole so that whatever you want is going to be where you want it. And then once you've got this done, you just choose something to put on there. So let's just say we want one of these little painted pearls. We're just going to take that. Now, what I use is the Fix-It-All adhesive. It's kind of a gel, kind of super glue or gel glue, but really strong. This works really good whenever you're doing anything that's like with metal. Regular glues do not work very well. So put a little bit of your Fix-It-All adhesive on there. Put your choice of whatever it is that you want on there. And then I stick them in a piece of styrofoam or something and let them dry. But there we go. We have our brad. And then once it's dry, you can use it on any project. You just put it on your project. Well, of course, it's not dry, so my thing's coming off. You just put it on your project. Bend your legs over, just like any other brad. Just like that. And now you have that brad very securely on your project without anything on it, because the glue wasn't dry. And I'm not going to get it to stay there. It's glued to my fingers. There we go. You have a brad. It's hooked on just the way any other brad is, and you've got pearls, diamonds, whatever you want to put on there. So I said I would show you how to put a brad in the middle, or how to put your legs right in the middle. And to me, it's very fiddly, but you can do it. So again, you're going to wrap your wire around like that. And then you're going to move your thing over so that you're at the wrap so you can bring it around again. And then what you're going to do is you're going to make them both go to opposite sides of your curl. So see, there's one on that side, and you're just going to bend it like this, and there's one on that side. Then what you're going to do is hold on to this, hold on to your center. You're going to bend them so that they're flush with that circle, so that pointing up. Now they're pointing up, and then you have to bend them over so that they're kind of flat. And then you kind of have to take it off so that you're able to get to the center, because your little pliers are in the center. And then you have to bend it up. And bend this one over so that it's flat. And bend it up. And so now you have your little legs. You're going to want to push that nice and flat. Now you have your little legs in the middle, just like the ones from the store. Just like this, where they're in the middle, but they come from each side. But to me, that's really fiddly. But if you want to get it in the middle, that's exactly how you do it. Now you have your little base here, and you can just, you know, punch out a flower or something out of this. Punch this out of a journal I have sitting back there. Put some glue on it and put it on there and let it dry. And now your little legs are right in the middle instead of off to one side or the other. But like I said, having them off to one side, you just look to where the legs are. Say, I want the flower to sit right here. My legs are on the top of my brad, so I'm going to punch my hole just a little higher so that when I put that through there, it's going to be exactly where I want it. So that's all there is to it. And literally, you can decorate them with anything. I like the little spring ones. These would be really cute in something steampunk. So it looks kind of like a little, spring, but you can use it just like a brad. So I'll show you how to do that one. And you could color that with your alcohol inks to make it look rusty or colored or whatever. But on that one, you're just going to just wrap your wire. And actually, I don't really wrap it in the middle. But this one I actually should have even left a smaller tail here. But then you just keep wrapping. I'm going to need to bring this off, put it back on so that I can continue to wrap. Whenever the little, whoops, just make sure that you wrap. Oh. Okay, here we go. Make sure that you're constantly wrapping the same one, and make sure that you're wrapping it towards the point of your little things here. And what that does is it makes your, see now my extra tail is in the way, so I'm just going to remove it and put it right back on, right to where it fits, and then just continue wrapping until my spring is as long as I want it to be. And I'm going to go just a little bit more just for effect, just so you can really see how it looks like a little spring. But you need to leave enough on here to be your brad tail. And it has to come down this far, and then whatever is going to stick through your paper. So we're going to say that that is our little spring. So that's really cute. And then to make it into a brad, you're just going to, I'm going to hold it with my pliers just because for me that's easier. And then you're just going to take it and fold it right straight down the spring. And then I'm going to take this one and also bend it down. And again, if you wanted it to be in the middle, what you could do is bring this to the other side and bend it down straight across from that one. they're across from each other. Then bend this one in. And bend this one in. And then bring them together in the middle. I'm not going to bother with that because to me it's just too fiddly. I'm going to say, leave this one up. And I'm going to bring this one back to where I had it originally. That's right. Right back over to here. Okay, so that when we bend them down, they're both right on the edge of our spring, just like that. See, they're both coming off this edge. I'm going to trim them both short. You don't want your brads to be really long unless you have to go through something very thick. Because, you know, you're going to bend that wire over. Even a little bit of wire is going to grab and hold for you. But why have this great big long piece of wire? And then you're just going to take your brad, put it through the hole, and bend one way and one the other. Just like that, just like any other brad. And now you have a little spring. And so I think that those are really cute to use in different projects. So the swirls, when you make a swirl, I've always had a hard time with this, and there are other tutorials on here that I'm sure, like bead makers, that will show you this better. But I will just kind of give you a quick thing that I learned when I started to make swirls. Okay, so you're going to start with your circle. Okay. Now, because this is a brad, normally your circle would be right at the end of, right at the beginning of your swirl or whatever. You'd start with your circle here. But because you want a brad and you need a leg on each end, we're going to do like that. And I really should have done it. Let me do it the correct way. I'll use that one for something else. Because swirls do take a little bit of space. All right, I only need just a little bit on this end for my, oops, decent size start of my circle. I just need a little bit on this end for my leg. Okay, so now we've got our original circle started. Then what you're going to do when you make a circle is you're going to use your pliers. You're going to hold right at that little point really tightly and loosely bend, and you have to hold it tight, loosely bend that around. And then what you're going to do is when you get not very far, you are going to come back over and you're going to hold where you just bent it and hold the center circle and twist just a little bit more. You just go about maybe a quarter of a turn at the most. And then you're just going to hold it. And you're going to hold right at the edge of that circle, the outside edge of that circle. And then bend it. And you just keep going like that, holding both the wire. See, these aren't holding really well because they don't have any grips on them. Of course, if they had grips, they would leave marks. All right, I'll do it this way and pull it towards me. But again, you still have to hold where your wire has stopped and that inside circle and just keep turning. Just a little bit at a time. And that's how you can get a spiral, which this one's not the best, but that's how you can get a spiral that's pretty close. You know, like where you can have your gaps on your spiral. Because I've never been good at doing a spiral, and like I said, there are better tutorials out there. And in this one, because we have this leg, the leg is kind of, I'm going to bend the leg down. Maybe that will kind of get it out of my way so I can hold it where I need to hold it. There we go. And wherever you're going to bend it, that's where you just need to be holding on to it. Okay, this is terrible, but hopefully you kind of get the gist. And if you go watch somebody else, they'll really show you how to be able to do it much better. But once you get your swirl made, then we'll bend this little leg back down again. And then we'll take this one and we will just bend it to the center. And just so that it's next to the other one. The only thing you really need to have is that when you have a brad, you want those legs to be right next to each other, so that when you put it through your paper and you widen them out, we're going to take the long one and nip it off. If your legs are like on each edge, what happens when you widen it out, it'll kind of rip your paper. So all you need to do is just make sure that your legs are next to each other, so that when you press them down, they're not so wide apart that they rip your hole and make it bigger. There we go. Okay, last one. I'll show you how to make the butterfly, because he's fun. And hopefully I'll be able to do this better than the swirl. Although I can do the butterfly, I still can't do swirls well. Okay, so to do the butterfly, and this is the butterfly we're going to do right here. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to take here, let me see, and this is going to probably be too long of a piece of wire, but whenever I'm working with something where I'm trying to bend the wire, I like to have extra. So I'll tell you how long it is. It is 7 3/4 inches long, and it doesn't have to be that length, but then you're going to grab right about in the middle, you know, as close as you kind of can, and then you're just going to wrap it all the way around, just like this, so that you have a circle. That's our head. Okay, and then you're going to hold on to the head right where it comes, where the two pieces come together, and you're going to hold that really tightly so that it does not unwind. And then you're going to take something round and put it under the head. The head is here. We're going to go under the head. We're going to hold on to this tightly, and we're going to take this round, anything round, and we're going to go all the way around it. Okay, it's just not my day as far as thumbs. I'm just all thumbs. Okay, all the way around so that it goes right up towards the head. And then, holding on to the head, we're going to do the other side and go all the way around so that it's pointing right up towards our butterfly's head. So there we go. That's what we have now. Then what we are going to do with this one is we are going to start at the base of our wings here, and we're just going to twist it together. And we want to twist it until it gets up to the head of our butterfly, and that's where we're going to stop, because that is where we are going to bend it down, and this is going to be our brad. Okay, and I kind of made my wings a little bit uneven, and there is not really a way to fix that, so that is just going to be the way. I was trying to see what the difference was. Okay, I'm going to pull my head, or pull my body back over to under the head, and then you're just going to shape your wings, and you're going to do that however you want to. So you just, you know, like I take mine maybe a little closer to the top, or actually a little closer to the bottom than the top, and kind of give them a little bit of a twist in so that we have that. Come to the other side. Let me see. When I was here, I was pushing up on the wing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it over so I can kind of do the same thing. I'm going to take it a little closer to the bottom, then to the top, and then I'm just going to kind of twist in, just like that. And then that's our butterfly. There we go. And then you just manipulate it until you get it the way that you kind of want it to look. Maybe you want little points on the bottom wings at the bottom part, or, you know, however you want to do it. You might want to kind of make the top wings go up a little bit. And then once you get it the way that you think that it looks nice, there. Okay, so we'll say that that looks pretty good. Then what you're going to do, now at the very end, we will cut these to the shortness of a brad, so that we can put it through our paper. But right now we're going to use it to hold on to. And then just like we make our nail polish flowers, now you can leave him just like that, or you can cover him with tissue paper and water glue, and just, put some water glue on tissue paper, set him down on there, fold the tissue paper over all the way, put some more water glue and everything, and then he'll be kind of see-through with that tissue paper, so you can do it that way. You can put regular paper on it. You can leave it just like it is. You can just paint the wire, just so the wire's painted, but the wings are not solid. You could glue feathers on it. You could do whatever you wanted to decorate it. So, but if you want to kind of do it like the flowers, what you're going to do is, first I'm going to just kind of paint where I want to go, just to kind of get some fingernail polish on there. And it doesn't need to be a whole lot. But then we're going to make sure that we have our brush completely covered with nail polish. We're not going to wipe it. Okay, and then you're going to start, it doesn't matter where, but all you need to make sure of is that you are making contact with wire both at the top of your brush and at the bottom. Now I'm kind of tipping this towards me a little bit because it was starting to get thin. So we're going to try it again. See, this part of my, it's not even my brush. This part of my, it's actually like the handle to the brush is touching, because my brush is not going to be big enough to go across the whole thing. But we just need to make sure that we keep everything touching till we hit that center point. Now I've got a gap right here between the body and the head, and what's happening is when it hits that gap, if I don't go all the way across, it's going to pop. So I only kind of want to go halfway, so I'm going to push it so that the body is touching the top wire. I'm just going to try this again. And you want to see now my bristles of my brush went down into the hole. And this is really, it's just a matter of trial and error. I haven't done my nail polish flowers in a long time, so it takes a little bit of getting used to. Once you get it down pat, they are really not hard to do at all. If you wind up with your nail polish getting really thin right here, see, I don't know if you can see through it there, but so what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of roll it around a little bit, just to kind of, because those really super thin spots, that's where it likes to pop. So if you just kind of get your nail polish into all those spots so that it doesn't pop at that spot. And a lot of times when you're first starting, you may be better off to do one wing and let it kind of dry and then do the next wing, so that you're not popping this one when you're doing this one. I'm going to try, because of time's sake, I'm going to try and do this side also. I'm turning around and I'm going to start from this side. Doesn't matter where you start, so long as you keep contact with, I don't know that I want to say all sides, but if you would think of this as the original circle that it was, you have to be touching both sides of the circle, or both sides of anything that you're trying to do this with, because you need to make a bubble. Maybe we'll come in and do it this way. And I'm going to kind of show you how fiddly this is when you're kind of starting out, because I don't want you to think that I didn't practice. Because once I've done it a few times, I'm much better at it. And so I didn't want you to think the first few times that you were trying to do this and you weren't quite getting it, I didn't want you to think you'll never get it, because you will get it. And like I said, now I didn't put very much nail polish on this, but we'll see if we can make it. And this is not going to work from this side. Maybe it will. right here is in the way. I need the flat part of the top. So we're going to do it again. And this time I'm going to make sure that I have my nail polish on there. When your nail polish starts to get empty, you got to make sure you want nail polish on this top part of your brush also, because that's, I'm getting the bristles a little bit in the wings, so I'm kind of like turning it up a little bit. Oh, almost had it. And like I said, you might think it's too fiddly, and it may be too fiddly, but once you get it down, they are so fun to make. I make flowers and stars and hearts and all sorts of things with this technique, just because I love the way that it looks when they dry, because it kind of looks like stained glass. I need to make sure that I get it completely closed up. Oh, I had it. Slide your brush off carefully. There we go. We got it. Don't know how long that took me, but now I'm just going to kind of, because I got a thin spot right there, I'm going to just kind of roll it around a little bit so that hopefully it won't pop. Don't let those thin spots get too thin. And then as it starts to set up, you can even turn it the other way so it's not, you know, super heavy pulling down. And then the head, because it's just a little tiny circle, that's easy to do. You just take your polish and go across it, and it will just cover that up. But there's our butterfly. He took some time. But to me, I think that they're worth it. And then I'm going to do his head in blue. But I am going to wait for his head because I don't want to pop the wings. The wings are the hardest part. And luckily I did not pop this wing when I was making that one, because that happens. And if it happens, don't get too discouraged. Just remember, you're just crafting to have fun, so if it takes a while, that's all right. You're trying to spend time doing it anyways, so there. Isn't he quite pretty? I really like that. Well, they look really nice with like this is kind of a two-tone almost nail polish. And I got these from the Dollar Tree in a 2-pack. I'm pretty sure. I think I got both of these together. And they're my favorites. So there we go. So there is our butterfly brad. And I'm actually going to get a piece of styrofoam to stick them in, or otherwise you can just take a book and just stick the legs of it in a book, just something to hold it while it's drying, because even once it stops kind of rolling around, you know, nail polish always takes a little bit to dry or it gets marks in it. This one was almost dry, and when I went to push the brad in, I put my fingerprint on it because it wasn't, I mean, it was dry enough that I didn't break it, but it wasn't dry enough to not leave marks. There we go. I'm going to set this aside, grab what we need for next week, and I'll be right back. Okay, so here are our brads, and design the sky is the limit. So here's our butterfly, and also, I was going to show you that just a hole punch. This is just a hole punch covered with nail polish, and then once the nail polish dries, you can just glue it. I put one right on there, and if you tip it upside down and use something like the end of a paintbrush, any kind of a little ball tool, you can kind of round them and dome them a little bit, but you have to have something soft underneath, and then put that on top, and it looks even more domed, like a little pearl, if you don't have any pearls or anything like that to stick on top of it. So there we go. That's our tutorial for this week. And for next week, we are going to need 6 different colors of floss or twine, some different color, and it doesn't have to be 6. I just got 6 because that was $3 worth. So spend $3 on either twine or floss, something that's fairly small. But it could be even, it could be a little thicker than this. It doesn't have to be this thin, but that's what we're going to need. We're going to need some type of floss or string, and we're going to get these fraction circles. It comes in a 3-pack. There's also a green one that was in here, which I've already used for my sample, but these are from the dollar store for $1. So we are going to pick up 1 set of these and for $1 and 6 floss for $3, so that next week we're going to spend 4. We're going to put $1 in our bank, which I have not done this out loud in quite a long time. So as we go through, let's see here. After our brads, we had $77.50. I'm going to shake you a little bit because my tripod was sitting on there. And so after we buy this stuff for next week, we're to spend $4, put $1 in our bank. We have $78.50 in our bank. So that's how much we've saved over the last 3 years. And we bought some, pretty nice things in the meantime. So just goes to show you, even on a $5 a week budget, you really can craft and have a really good time and, still get the things that you want. Sometimes you just have to be patient. So, alrighty, so we're going to pick these things up for next week. Here are our brads. I hope that you like this tutorial, and I hope that if you make some, that you have a good time with it, and I hope that helped you out, Jeanette. So if you ever need a brad and you don't have one, all you need is a really small piece of wire and just a little something to decorate the top, a button, anything, and you've got yourself a really handy brad right then and there. Thanks again for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I hope that you all have an outstanding day. Bye-bye.